Beautiful little wet winter day here, and I'm making string lines. Go down to Lowe's or wherever you buy stuff and get these 2" by 2" by 24" stakes. They come in a pack of 6 or so, and you can use them. Now what I did was, as you can see in this example, is I measured 12 inches and drew a little line all the way around. And then I know I want to put down 2 inches of compost on top of the beds, so I'll do another mark about 2 inches and colored it in red, which is what you see here. And at the very top of that line, I drew a hole all the way through to run my string. And there you go. That's my string line. That way, when I do run my strings, I have the level in which I need to add compost for the no-till beds. Now, if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you know that I do 10" pathways and 30" raised beds in the garden in the style of the market gardeners such as Curtis Stone and Jean-Martin Fortier, Connor Crickmore, people like that. So I made me a little stick hack, and I want to show you this too. I got me a $1.58 piece of PVC pipe, and I measured 10 inches and did a tape the same size as the little stake there. And of course I'm trying to be precise here. Alright, so after measuring down the aisle from the last stake, 10 inches. Measure you 30 inches, put some tape. 10 inches tape. 30 inches tape, 10 inches tape, 30 inches, and it's perfect. I think it was a 10-foot stick or something, but whatever it was, it came just perfect out to be. This is, I think, 29, so when I put my stake right here, it'll be perfect. So that basically helps me form 3 beds. And this is done now. For $1.58, I can now throw this in the barn or the greenhouse, or actually it's pretty much somewhat weatherproof, so I can just throw it out by the tree, by the tools, and then I can scoot it on down, and I can actually measure out all my beds for the rest of the time. Yay! Now that we have our little string line posts in position, what I can do is, and this is kind of the interesting thing about no-till, kind of the fun part about this whole tarping process, I went and got this masonry string, basic string line, and I chose orange because I wanted something bright that I could see, that'd be highly visible, because in the past I've used twine, but that kind of blends in with the dirt, and I want something like really, really, really showy. So now what I can do is, because these are hammered on the outside of the tarp, I can remove all these stones right here and fold this tarp back to reveal this first bed right here. Rake it, add the compost, string line it, get everything set up and start planting, while the rest of the garden is still tarped. So I can slowly, as I'm ready to add a bed and plant this and plant that, I can slowly unwind the tarp until I'm ready to move it on to the next plot. So another little interesting hack. This no-till deal is really getting exciting, and it's really getting easy, and it's really getting cheap. So I'm super, super thrilled. I basically just used my wife's beautiful grandmother style Bic and melted the nylon string at the end so that I could feed it through. Then I'll wrap it around twice and tie it off, and then run it down and pull it tight. Now the reason I used 24" stakes and sunk it a foot is because look at this. That ain't going nowhere. That's not moving. That is secure and steady. The reason I went with 2 by 2 rather than last year I just used the 1 by 2 stakes is as you're hammering, they split. When you drill through them, they split. So the 2 by 2" is really good. And then I ended up buying that mallet that you saw, that rubber mallet, so that I could beat the stew out of this and it not bust or split and crack the end. And plus, I needed a little hammer. Pretty cool. It was a good $6. Alrighty, guys, that has got our first 30-inch bed laid out. And I'm just backing up to make sure it looks halfway straight. Of course, I'm a little OCD. I try to make everything nice and straight and keep the same amount of distance there, and make sure everything looks good. And then everything's nice. But really, straight lines don't make your vegetables taste any better. They just help you sleep at night, and they help with weeding, the cultivation process. If you're using a wheel hoe or any kind of mechanical type thing, even with the hand tools that I like to use, you're still having everything in a straight line. Just makes everything efficient and makes everything really nice, and plus it makes it look beautiful. So alright, the next step is to get the compost for the first bed. I'm going to go ahead and utilize some of this rough compost that I've got. You can see it's got some weeds that have gotten on top of it, but as I mix it, it starts to look really good. I'm sifting it now, just enough to use for that first bed. The next bed I'm going to use Gen Trash. The third bed I'll probably use a store-bought compost, and then the fourth bed I might do something totally different. I'm going to try something different on each bed and see what works, what doesn't, how many weed seeds are in here. Is it broke down enough? I'm really going to look into my composting operation and see what I can do to make it better, because I've got 3 huge bins here I can fill up. So I need to find out how to make good compost, because if you watch channels like Charles Dowding and any of those other guys, they are big into compost, and that is the only means of fertilization for their seedlings. If you watch Charles Dowding, which if you don't, are you even gardening? Are you even trying? Watch Charles Dowding. He's a master of this, but he makes his own compost. And he has about 9 of these bins in a big covered shed, and it's real beautiful. Anywho, and he's making compost, but that's all he uses for his seedlings. And it has enough nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, micronutrients to get the seedlings up and out. And I just think that's incredible. But you can see this stuff's kind of rough, but I'm going to do it just for fun. As an experiment. It is early in the year, so I can get away with experiments. And we'll see how this does. So if you want to see how this goes, man, please hit that subscribe button. I need y'all to be with me. I need y'all's comments. I need y'all's help. I need this community to grow. But from the sifted stuff actually looks really nice. It's wet though, and I see about 6 earthworms in that right there. So that's really a good sign. Alrighty guys, I've kind of leveled off this to be 1 wheelbarrow full of compost. Hallmark Homestead compost. Version 1, I guess you could say. And we'll improve it and help it out. This would be just something nice to grow in. Should do well. I'm interested to see at that 2-inch amount how many wheelbarrows it'll take to cover just that 150-foot row. This is the kind of stuff that you can only do from experience and learning. Yeah, you can calculate, but really getting your hands on it, seeing what it takes to make it, how much it makes, how much it fills up after being sifted, and all that, and then how much goes on the bed, guys. You can't really read this in a book. I mean, you can. I guess they've got it out there, but you really got to get your hands on it, because each person's house is different. Each person's composter is different. Each person's wheelbarrow is different. So I'm excited. Let's get this on over there, and we'll rake it out and see what it covers. Wow, guys, check it out. Pulling that tarp back, a lot of the crop debris has already begun to break down. I could walk on this, guys. It's rained. You don't know how much in Alabama. And I walked across this and did not sink. It helped keep the water off of it. It's still wet, it's still moist, but it's not soaking wet. If I was a tilling type of person, I could come out here and probably run a tiller over it shallow and be fine. But I'm not. And I'll tell you why. Look, the tarp has begun to kill this grass. You can see how it's yellowing. Stuff has started to break down. It's drier. Guys, this is incredible. I love the tarping. And this has only been on here for what? A week or 2? It hasn't been long. If you left this on for a month, month and a half, 2 months, all of this green area would be knocked back and composted under it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this compost here. We'll see what we get. And then I'll probably put the tarp back down over it for about a week. And then come out here after a week and plant our first stuff. And keep the rotation going there, all the way down. I think last year I got 8 beds. off this plot. So we'll see if we can go for 8. Mine could sneak 9, just depends. But guys, I'm so ready to garden. Alright guys, got about 2 inches down. The string lines worked out perfectly, letting me know where to put it, how high to go, kind of let me be a gauge, you know, and helped me get it nice and even. The string lines are nice and tight, extremely visible. Left me my pathways, which we may come back and do wood chips on the pathways there. And look how beautiful that looks. Nice black gold looking composted material. You know, and actually one wheelbarrow did, you know, I don't know, probably 12 feet or so, maybe, you know, 12 feet. So I'm thinking about maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 wheelbarrows, maybe a 4th one, probably what I got left in that composter to do. So I got some work ahead of me today, but that's what we'll do. We will put that down and we'll retarp it for about another week or 2 to let these weed seeds germinate in here and die off, hopefully, or at least get to where we can know what we're dealing with. And then we're going to come back, wood chip it, and plant it. And we'll be ready to rock with our first crop. And it's a little overcast today, so I can't do much, but anyway, just some cool hacks there for how to make some pretty cool string lines and markers for how to build your beds. And in the next video coming up, after I get a hold of some gin trash, which would be a video too, I'll do a video on how to prep my beds for spring. Super excited. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit that like button so you can follow us and hit that little bell icon so you'll know what's going on when we upload new videos. I'm so excited. I don't know why I'm shaking this hammer, y'all.